frankly, I would admit this, that I just forgot actually, it just skipped my mind. Otherwise, I would have brought it myself. I just remained on a point what the functions of a speaker are. So normally if I say that I have brought these reforms, so that would be like as I am just telling the story that what in person I have done. We have changed 72 rules of this House. And in one change of laws and rules, 72 rules to be changed is just making an altogether new arrangement. Now what we have done, we have actually made it open to the public, accessible for the public. We have introduced the public petitions. We have empowered the standing committees. We have given the standing committees the power to ask the policy of the government, to question the budgetary allocations. We have given the standing committees the right to question the functioning of the government, which was not there before this. We have made these rules at par with the National Assembly and Senate. We have finished that unfinished agenda of 18th Amendment of Constitution of Pakistan after lapse of almost 1.5 decades. Now, 18th Amendment basically devolved in two streams. One stream was constitutional, which was related to these houses, and one was executive. So, federal government and the National Assembly devolved 18 or more different subjects to the provinces. So we have brought those rules in conformity with the Constitution. We have made a law reforms committee, which was not there prior to this. We have increased the number of women in the standing committees. We have made the caucuses for the marginalized communities in our society, those factions which are not heard properly. In saying that, I would be fairly right to say that the caucus for women, the caucus for minorities, the caucus for the local governments are the ones, those who are not being getting the right attention. We have made these caucuses, they are raising these voices very forcefully. We have rather transformed the whole procedure of the House in which no victimizations could take place. I have seen that these empowered houses and empowered committees actually benefit the public at large. We have made certain changes in our code in which we have made it more accessible to the civil society. We have made a PDU, and that Parliamentary Development Unit is, on one hand, they are actually helping our members in bringing in their business, but there is a lot more to be done. So I'm not claiming that we have done everything right, but we are walking into the right direction. And I don't have any personal agenda into this. I am now contributing from my own sources for this parliamentary development. I'm going to establish an endowment fund, and I'm going to train young boys and girls. I'm going to bring them to this house more often. I am sharing a timetable with the universities and alumni in which I'm asking them to come here for the parliamentary studies. We are developing our new institute here, which would be imparting that education. We are engaging with the youth. There have been youth councils here. There have been many programs going on. So, as the detailed note of that, Osama Saab and Ahmed would be exactly giving you in black and white that which reforms we have done, which changes we have made, and what betterment it is bringing to the whole system.
Partly. A follow-up question. So we also discussed in this course that how reforms, and especially reforming the rural house, every public functionary and even personally, it's always easy to point fingers at others. I'm a very democratic person. But the question that remains, and that lost audience also has in mind, what institutional changes that you have undertaken, or what sort of reforms within this assembly you have undertaken to make this house a more representative? And what you earlier said, that the opposition should have its say. So there needs to be mechanisms in place, and also more importantly, inclusive and open to larger civil society.
But I have done it twice. मैंने पहले भी किया और I suspended them to the maximum. But when they agreed to come and sit in the Committee of Ethics and agreed to be part of the proceedings as the rules desire, I just withdrew that order. So it's not actually the intention to snatch away the right of those constituents who are to be represented here. The question is that during that course, once they are here to represent, they are not supposed to snatch away the right of other people's representation. So this is the case. So we have to strike the balance in between.
So thank you, sir. I have a similar question, but it's about so I agree with your judgment more or less, right? It makes sense completely, and I actually do understand every single point. However, in your speech right now, you constantly refer to the Panama cases and your disapproval of Article 62 and 63. So at the same time, you refer to Article 63 too, and now you are sort of using your power under that constitutional right? So I just sort of want to understand how do you determine the standard, because you are on one hand saying that this is completely we will agree with them, but at the same time you are explaining.
No, very, very good question. Very good question. No, actually, there are things which are expressly provided to be done in that manner. There are laws which say that certain acts has to be done in a certain way. And non-doing of those acts, in fact, entail a certain consequence. Now, in this case, my position, I am very vocal about it. That's my political position. And I have been advocating that since last 2 decades. I have been very loud on it. I have been saying that please remove these 62s and 63s out of the Constitution. But as long as they are there, and I function as a speaker, and if there is an application which raises the question that any disqualification has occurred, then I have to act, whether I like it or I don't like it. So I have qualified saying that what I am doing is compulsorily mandated upon me. It is expressly provided that I have to do a certain act as it is provided in the law. So basically, though I don't like it, but I have to do this unpleasant job.
Mr. Raja,
Thank you so much for the information, sir. I have 2 questions, both are tied. My first question is कि आपने बात की थी कि पार्लियामेंट के अंदर अभी बिहेवियर का आपका एक्टिव रेसिडेंट होता है कि वो उसको पोर्ट्रेट. But given the parliament, Punjab Assembly for the last 22 years, according to the information that I have, 2019 से 2007 के दौर में मुझे आया था, मैंने रात को बैठ के इसकी रिसर्च की. उस वक्त भी ऑपोजिशन मुझे बात थी, तो ऑपोजिशन ने यही करके भैया से कागज हमारे थे कॉपी में शामिल. My question is, when I understand that आपका opinion यही रहा होगा पाकिस्तान में, what were your actions as part of your opposition when your party members were doing this? That's the first question. That is the political question. The second question is कि जो आपने 26 महिलाओं का नाम उनकी suspension की है, if it goes to the ECB and they're disqualified, then what happens to the whole representation argument that you're giving on the basis of what you're arguing, right? क्योंकि representation होगी जो constituencies हैं जो also visibly represented in the Assembly. If they are disqualified, this is basically the same as what happened to the people in 2018 and 2017 onwards. So how is it any different? How would your decision be any different from the Panama judgment as Pakistan?
Now, I'll take your first question first. I am solely responsible, and I'm saying it on media, I am solely responsible for convincing my parliamentary party that don't breach the convention of Leader of the House's speech to be heard uninterrupted. I made sure that it happens. I ensured that our people don't get beyond this point where Madam is sitting. This is the opposition side. And if you have to tear the paper books, do tear it, but don't throw it. But I am against it. Don't do it. I said, go back to your seats, listen to the finance minister, what he says, and then rebut his speech. Then बखिया उधेड़ दे उसके, फिर उसके बजट का पोस्टमार्टम करें, फिर वहां पर दलील से बात करें, फिर बताएं कि अगर ये कहते हैं कि हम इन मंसूबाजात पर पैसा खर्च करने जा रहे हैं तो उनमें कहाँ सुकम है, फिर आप बताएं कि इनकी इस पॉलिसी से अवाम नास को फायदा क्यों नहीं होगा। तो प्लीज आप अपना स्टील एज ओरेटर, एज पार्लियामेंटेरियन, एज मेंबर ऑफ द असेंबली, एज समबडी कनेक्टेड टू द पीपल, डू योर राइट ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन। आई हैव बीन एडवोकेटिंग दिस। You might see a footage in which I have approached the desk of the speaker as a member of opposition. That is viral on the TV. That is viral on the social media. My political, मेरे खैर ख्वाह और बड़ी ख्वाह, क्योंकि मैं स्पीकर हूँ, मैं मुखालिफ तो नहीं कह सकता, तो मेरे चाहने वाले उसको बड़ी तवातर से चला रहे हैं। तो मैंने फिर उसकी साउंड बाइट को निकलवाया। मैंने निकलवाया जिसमें मैं स्पीकर साहब के पास जाता हूँ और उनसे जाकर ये कहता हूँ कि जनाब ये जो नतीजा आप ऐलान कर रहे हैं हमारे पोलिंग एजेंट्स के साइंस और मौजूदगी के अंदर किया जाए तो ज्यादा मुनासिब है। और फिर मैं अपनी पार्टी को इशारा करता हूं कि पीछे जाके बैठ जाएं, चाहे गलत नतीजा ऐलान कर रहे हैं, हाउस को आप यरगमाल मत करें। आई से दैट एंड आई एम सोलली रिस्पॉन्सिबल। आई वॉज अ वॉइस इन माई पार्टी विद सो मेनी अदर्स आफ्टर दैट, in which we convinced our leader of the opposition that if you start speaking, then you have to speak for hours and you have to speak relevant. I sat to prepare his speech, my opposition leader's speech, for 3 weeks. I gave him a rebuttal on every single page of budget, not once, 5 times. I had been on the opposition benches and I have, I can share that it's not about me. Once I say I mean the members of this house. So your first question, I say yes that I have been trying and I have been doing every bit and inch to do what you have said. But now I have a position where I can. First I was advocating. खुद experience किया है, मेरे सामने है। जब ये मुझे आप मजबूर ना करें कि मैं political positions को लूं, allow me to speak as a speaker. प्लीज, मैंने बार बार इनसे इसरार किया, लेकिन फॉर द करेक्टनेस ऑफ रिकॉर्ड अब मैं आपसे जो आपके एकेडमिक सिलसिले में बात में आपसे मैंने शुरू की थी एंड आई वाज आस्क्ड बाय द मीडिया टू मेक दैट स्टेटमेंट। बड़ी अच्छी बात है अगर ये हुकूमत और ऑपोजिशन बैठे, मैं इनको बिठाने को तैयार हूँ, मैं इनके साथ बैठ के इस जमहूरियत के घर ने कैसे चलना है इस पर बात करने को तैयार हूं। मैं इसकी कोई हदूद आज मुझे बताया गया कि लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन ने कहा है कि हम बैठने को तैयार हैं, हम हुकूमत के साथ नहीं बैठेंगे, स्पीकर के साथ बैठेंगे। ठीक है, मैं गवर्नमेंट को भी बारहा कहता हूं, ये आपकी जो बिजनेस एडवाइजरी कमेटी होती है, उसका फंक्शन ही सिर्फ ये होता है कि गवर्नमेंट और ऑपोजिशन आपस में बैठ के कुछ चीज़ों को तय करे। तो मैंने तो भी ये जो फैसला करना है इसमें तो भी 25-26 दिन है, मैं तो आई विल टेक इट ऑन अ काउंट डाउन। अभी तो 25 दिन पीछे हैं, मैं तो भी सोच रहा हूँ, देख रहा हूँ, कवानीन पढ़ रहा हूँ, वो फैसले पढ़ रहा हूँ, साकिब निसार साहब के फैसले पढ़ रहा हूँ, मैं उमर अता बंदयाल साहब के फैसले पढ़ रहा हूँ, इजाजुल एहसन साहब के फैसले पढ़ रहा हूँ। मेरे पास वो फैसलों की लंबी तफसील है जिनके अंदर पूरी हुकूमतों को गिराया गया है, डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन की बुनियाद पर एक जमात को खड़ा किया। तो मैं देख रहा हूँ कि किस हद तक इन फैसलों से मैं क्या देख सकता हूँ, इवन दो आई थिंक those are not good judgments. I can just give the detail of those judgments. अब आगे हाउस की कारकर्दगी पे और इसके काम पे। I am sure that Osama साहब and Ahmed साहब would have actually given you the best of their जो भी जब ये communicate करते हैं तो बड़ा ably करते हैं. They are very good communicators and they tell the story very well. But the story of this democracy, this project of democracy, it starts from, fairly speaking, from 1890s. It begins with the Council of the Lieutenant Governor. That was a nominated council. Then it travels. then it becomes the Legislative Council, then it travels, then the Minto-Morley reforms, you are all student of that, then it travels to the 1935 Government of India Act, and from a Legislative Council, those Legislative Councils were abolished in 1910, 15, 20, and these shape of assemblies came out. They were based upon similar to the Westminster model, in which executive was made responsible to the House, where ministerial responsibility was the basic function of that. So where passing of the budget, which is marred from last 22 years, I couldn't see that. I have seen the ministers not answering rightly as being on opposition benches and as being speaker and as being part of the cabinets. Have seen ministers just making fiery political speeches, not giving the right context of the answerability to the constituents of which representative made a question. So the procedure of a Legislative Council was altogether different from what these assemblies had. Legislative Council had just one function, and that function was primarily legislation. And they had, the Council of the Lieutenant Governor had a capacity of advisory also. And once we became an assembly, so there were new 4 parliamentary tools brought into a question hour. A question hour means that a member raises a question and minister gives an answer. This is part of his ministerial responsibility towards the House. And the role of the speaker is to receive those questions, to regulate that question hour, to tell the government to give an answer, and allow the member to raise that question. So this is how the government gets answerable, and this is how the speaker navigates that. So it is under a certain rules. It is written in the rules that how the question will be raised. The member shall do certain things in a manner which are binding upon him. There are other tools which is like calling attention notices, there are adjournment motions, there are 0 hour. We have also brought in new rules in which we say the matters of public importance, a member can just raise a point at the end of the session if there is something of a very grave urgency, he can bring it in. And speaker regulates the whole thing. Speaker allows the time, speaker asks the member to sit down, speaker asks the member to stand up, and this is how the speaker does it. And it is all in the book. Election of the speaker is there. Every single word is mandated. It has to be acted as it is written in the book. But normally while we are doing those things, because as I already said, these are not dead houses, so voices get loud in it. But in normal course of day, loud voices are tolerated. It is considered to be a very acceptable parliamentary practice, but willful obstructions are not parliamentary practices. They are malpractices. Malpractices could not be allowed in any system. If somebody does it with an objective of stopping the lawful proceeding, so it is not allowed. If protest is equated to stop the proceeding of the House, that is not allowed. Protest should be registered. If I am making a speech and somebody says that he is not saying right things, he is not connecting with the reality, or he says that he is not politically correct, or he has some problem in this, yes, he can stand up and he can say, no, this is not right, and then they can make some noises, then they can thump their desks, they can do certain things which are in the parliamentary norms. But where is it fair to attack the women? It's not just that you have to perform these legislative and questioning functions. Primary and the foremost duty, सबसे अवलीन और सबसे ज़रूरी जिम्मेदारी फ़राइज़ मनसबी में आपके जो नुमाइंदगान हैं वो उनके अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स के प्रॉब्लम्स को एड्रेस करना। अगर वहाँ पर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है तो दैट इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम। अगर वहाँ पे स्कूल्स नहीं है दैट इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम। वहाँ पर हेल्थ नहीं है दैट इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम। अगर किसी की वहां पे जॉब्स के इश्यूज हैं तो दैट इज अ प्रॉब्लम. सो द इलेक्टेड रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैज टू रिजॉल्व दोज इश्यूज ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स जहां से वो इलेक्ट होते हैं. और thirdly, to uphold the constitution and the law. If you are just there to protest and violate it, then it means that you are willfully doing it. ये तीन बुनियादी चीजें हैं जो किसी भी पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म की सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हैं. I hope I have made some sense to you.
So I have a question before we thank you.